Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Elise Reads and Speaks. Today I am bringing you my audiobook narrator recommendations. Back in January or February when I started my channel, I made a video of audiobook recommendations, and that's still one of my most popular videos to date. I can see that it still gets views every now and then, and it's because somebody is always looking for a book to listen to and they don't want to be steered the wrong way. So I figured I would do something different and give you a narrator recommendation for audiobooks. If I see one of these narrators is on a book that I'm slightly interested in, I am more likely to give it a listen. So I'll start off with the narrators that I like the most, so my recommendations, and then I'll end the video with narrators that maybe I'm not so crazy about. So if you like positivity, continue watching. If you prefer the negativity, one, what's wrong with you? And two, just go to the end of the video and I'll talk about some people over there that I don't like. All right, so let's just kick it off with my main girl. My number one audiobook goddess is Rebecca Solaire. She's fantastic. She does so many different voices. I can't help but be pulled into the story. She's done Lunar Chronicles, Caraval, Sadie. She was the main voice in Sadie. She's done Heartless. She did the Hazelwood. I didn't like the Hazelwood, but nothing to do with her. Her narration is fantastic. I recommend her every single chance that I get. And when I was doing research for this video, I noticed that I could follow her on Twitter, and I was so excited. So I fangirl over an audiobook narrator. That should tell you how good she is. Next on my list is Katherine Caldron. So the sad thing is that when I was doing research for this, I noticed that she passed away last year, and I was so bummed because I'm currently listening to a book that she's narrating. It's My Lady Jane, and it's so good, and I know that I've heard her voice before, but I was like, what have I heard her voice in? She's also done The Red Pyramid, the Kane Chronicles. I only listened to The Red Pyramid because I didn't like those books in general, but her voice is top notch. She's so good. She also did Queen of the Tearling. That was another series that wasn't for me, but I swear it has nothing to do with her voice. Her narration is top notch. Like when she's doing male voices and female voices, there's a distinct difference. Like she's really such a great voice actor. I mean, when you're listening to her, you're listening to a bunch of different characters at once. It doesn't sound like the same thing each time. And although I didn't listen to this audiobook, I did read the book and I highly enjoyed it, and now I think I would listen to the audiobook, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I mean, that was a fun time. And she did that one, and apparently she did the next one too, Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters, but I didn't read that one, so I can't vouch for how good it is. The next narrator that I'm recommending to you is Jessie Bernstein. If you know Percy Jackson, you better know Jessie Bernstein. He did all of the Percy Jackson books, and not just, The Lightning Thief, that first series. Anything that has to do with Percy Jackson, he has narrated because he is Percy Jackson. I love his voice. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I also like that, if you're familiar with Percy Jackson at all, you know that these first books start off when the kid is 12. All right, this is clearly not a 12-year-old doing these audiobook narrations, but his voice has a younger quality to it, so it comes off as very realistic. And I feel like he kind of aged with the character too. Like whatever he did it so well. He was also the voice in the first book of Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I am a little salty about that one because I listened to the second one and I was expecting the same voice because I really like that voice, and it was a completely different voice, and I was like, no, give me the first one back, give me the first one back. So, I mean, not that I didn't like those audiobooks, but it was not the same as Jessie Bernstein. Next on my list is Michael Crouch. Oh my gosh, when I was looking this guy up, I had no idea that I had listened to this many audiobooks with him in it. I mean, whenever I listen to something, I can recognize his voice. I just didn't realize that I had listened to him so often. Okay, so let's look at my list. We have Salt to the Sea, Dry, They Both Die at the End, Heretics Anonymous, Expelled, Sam and Ilsa's Last Hurrah, Magonia, and Twilight, the 10th Anniversary Edition. Okay, I did not listen to this last one. I listened to the Twilight audiobook when it first came out, and it was a girl's voice. But now that I know that he's done the Twilight 10th Anniversary Edition, I would want to listen to that one. Next on my list is Cassandra Morris. I've mentioned her before. She has that snotty girl kind of voice, and I don't mean that in a bad way because I find her highly enjoyable. I listened to her in Pretty Little Liars, Killing November, The Lying Game, Salt to the Sea, and she's also been in stuff that I haven't listened to, but I could picture her perfectly in, like Gossip Girl. Apparently she was the audiobook narrator for 2 books of the Gossip Girl series, which is fantastic because she did Pretty Little Liars and The Lion Game. She's great. I mean, her voice, it just cuts in you like one of those high school girls that you really want to slap. I mean, she does a great job. The next narrator that I'm recommending to you is Polly Lee. I loved her in A School for Good and Evil. I mean, she had so many different character voices. I listened to the first 3 or 4, I believe. I can't remember, but in each one, I remember just being so amazed at her range. I mean, she's incredible. I haven't read or listened to these next 2 books, but you may be interested in A Fate of the Tearling. That's Queen of the Tearling series that I said that Katherine Caldron had read the first book from. I didn't go on since I didn't like that series. But one that I am interested in that I just saw that she narrates is A Secret History of Witches. So I'll have to give that one a listen. Next on my list is Robbie Damon. He was also in They Both Die at the End with Michael Crouch. He's done The Trials of Apollo, and he was one of the voices in One of Us is Lying. If you haven't listened to One of Us is Lying, you might actually enjoy that one because there's 4 different characters and 4 different narrations in that one that I really enjoyed. And last on my list is Jonathan McLean. He was the voice of Ezra Mason in Illuminae, who I fell in love with. I swear, this guy's voice, I could just listen to him talk to me all day. There's something about it. There's something magnetic about his voice. He also was one of the voices in These Broken Stars, and although I enjoyed listening to his voice, I wasn't as crazy about that series, but I would be willing to listen to more things that he's put out just because I find his voice so soothing. All right, now I'm gonna roll into voices that I am not so crazy about, and I have a different reason why for each. So let me just kick it off with Bonnie Turpin. Bonnie Turpin was the voice in The Sun Is Also a Star. She was in The Hate U Give and On the Come Up. I have listened to On the Come Up and The Sun Is Also a Star. I read The Hate U Give, so I didn't listen to her there. Okay, my problem with her voice is that it sounds older. Okay, don't come for me. Old is not a bad thing, all right? She sounds 40 to 50 because I think she is 40 to 50. The problem is that they are casting her in these books that have a 16 to 17-year-old girl that it does not sound like what I'm supposed to be listening to. And there's so many other black actresses that they could have cast in that. I don't get why that was done. Now, I know that I mentioned earlier with Jessie Bernstein, I mean, he's a grown adult and he did the voice of Percy Jackson. However, his voice has such a young quality to it that it didn't pull me out of it at all. Bonnie Turpin is, 40 to 50 and she sounds 40 to 50. So I just could not see her as these 16 to 17-year-old girls. Maybe if I listen to an audiobook that she narrates that is age appropriate or just doesn't have an age to it, I would enjoy it more because it's not her voice acting that's bad. It's just the tone of her voice sounds older than the books that I've listened to her be cast in. It just, why do you do that? Next one I just don't like at all is Will Patton. Oh, and I mentioned him in my original audiobook recommendation and not recommendation video. He's a good actor. He's been in Armageddon and Remember the Titans. I mean, you will know his face if you can't think of his name. But his voice is so breathy. Why he narrates so many books, I don't understand. It has such a very breathy quality to it. And I can't listen to this all day. I can't do it. Why? On the opposite side of that spectrum, there is someone named PJ Ocklin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. His voice is not breathy, but he has what I refer to as the news reporter voice. Let me demonstrate the news reporter voice to you. For some reason, they start up in the beginning and they go down below at the end. I don't know why we think this is okay. It's just, I don't know why news reporters are taught to speak like that, but all of them do. So they've clearly all been coached the same way. I started listening to The Gilded Wolves and I could not even get an hour in because that's all I could hear. And I don't even know what he was saying because all I could hear was the tone of his voice and it was maddening. He was also apparently in Illuminae and I can't think of what character he was because when I was looking at his resume, I was like, okay, what? But no, that voice is not for me. And last one that I'm on the fence with is Steve West. Now, Steve West has done a lot. He's done Strange the Dreamer, The Crown's Game, The Thief, he was one of the voices in Obsidio and one of the voices in Ember in the Ashes. So he's got some books there that I like and some books there that I don't like. Like, I really didn't like Strange the Dreamer or The Thief. But I loved Obsidio, and I really loved Ember in the Ashes. So, I mean, it's not like his voice is so detrimental to the story for me, but there's a quality about his voice that it kind of loses me, if that makes sense. Like, some voices are for some people and some voices just aren't. And I think he's one of those that it sounds a little monotone to me, so it kind of takes me out of the story. I think there's something to be said that the two books that I really enjoyed him in, Obsidio and Ember in the Ashes, he wasn't the only voice. So I'm getting like a switch, you know? He's taking turns with other voice actors. Whereas something with The Thief or Strange the Dreamer, it was just him the entire time. So it completely lost me, if that makes sense. All right, that's all I got for you. So that is 8 recommendations and 4 maybe not recommendations, or, you know, I wish somebody would tell me their best work so that I would go and listen to these people and see what I think. Because, you know, I don't want to bash people's acting skills. I really want to hear the best. But I thought this would give you some type of path to start on if you're thinking, okay, well, I want to get into audiobooks and I don't know who to listen to, what's good. So hopefully this will help you. Maybe you already listen to audiobooks and you're just not finding the voice for you. Try one of the ones that I have recommended. Also, if you have somebody on your list that I did not recommend, leave that down in the comments below, because I'll look up some books in my TBR and see if one of those is a narrator, and I'll give them a try. Who knows? All right. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to Elise Reads and Speaks. I will catch you next time, guys. Bye.